There's Steve again. Good afternoon, everyone. Taking a midday jaunt around a familiar place now. I decided to drive away from work, head over to the park where I've been running the last couple of days. The reason why I chose this is it's just easier to run on the path, or it's easier to make sure that I'm running on spots where the ground is even instead of cambered too much. There is a place on the path where it is, but I can run on the grass instead. So I'm just trying to lighten the load on my ankles. Well, let's see, it is Tuesday. I was just here for a light run yesterday, and maybe just a quarter mile, I don't know, 5 minutes into my start. Make that 6. Yeah, so just getting out here in the afternoon, very quiet, not too many visitors. There's a little breeze, so I'll apologize if you were picking up wind noise. I've got a windsock somewhere, just not with me. The old windsock. I think it's getting to be that time of year when you need a windsock, because as the colder weather comes, it seems that the air is rarely still, like a hot summer's day. Today we're around 64 degrees. A drop over yesterday, but I'd say my running temperatures are similar. It's pleasantly cool, but not cold. Carlos said that he spent his day yesterday running around football and baseball fields or something like that yesterday, just as I did. Last night's meeting went from 7 to around 9:30, maybe 9:45. Not too bad. I did get home prior to Margie and Anna from the violin and orchestra practice, or practice and lesson, or lesson and practice. So today we're just kind of working on follow-up from last night's meetings, things to communicate, and just bounce ideas off of each other and be sounding boards, that kind of thing. So today my plan is to run around the soccer fields as yesterday, but then cross over through the other side of the park, Memorial Park, or go around it. So I'll pick that up on the far side of the cemetery, which is opposite of me right now. Alright, well, not too much else on my mind at the moment. So we'll take a not too much on my mind pause. Yeah, today I wasn't intending on recording. I was intending to listen to something. And then I remembered I don't have any music on my iPhone. So I headed out. And then just now remembering, but I've got podcasts. So silly. So since it's fairly quiet, I think I might just turn on a podcast. Should be able to hear it. And that makes my battery go down faster, but hey, it's okay. All right, pause again. All right, picking up in the park, the far side, the back side of St. Isidore's school. And what's that rule about running by dogs? They look preoccupied, kind of a bloodhound size color. And I just pretended like I didn't see him seeing me, and all's well. My kids on the playground, the other side of the creek. Many ducks on this side of the creek. They're looking for acorns, little bugs. My wife asked me to go out and get milk and eggs this morning. Right, not milk. Eggs. And oh my. Eggs and flour. That's right. She was making an apple cake. I think it's Jewish apple cake. And I was looking at the different eggs they have for sale. So I had some coupons for either Land O'Lakes or Eggland's Best. And one of the varieties, I'm not sure if it was either of those, said vegetarian fed chickens or hens. I don't know, what do chickens eat? I didn't even know they eat grasses and things like that. Do they also eat bugs? I have to look that one up. So I'm thinking when you get a free-range egg, it has a different flavor than the store-bought variety. It's a little more pronounced flavor. Not sure what to say that is. I, in my mind, was attributing it to the diet of bugs. So now I'll have to look that up. Alright, well, coming to the final legs of the run. Not too chatty either today or yesterday. That's okay. I just feel like running. I was listening a little bit of Jim's episode 199 of the Seeker podcast. So congratulations to Jim. On number 200. That will sure be next. I doubt it will be a 199 and a half. Though, that would sure be a curveball. running by the library, using air conditioning. Too bad they don't have windows to open. They could save the electric bill. And then I've got that hum from the last couple days of the refrigerator cars. Into the final stretch. Afternoon. I was listening to Jim talk about Kevin telling him to put in a 4 mile per hour speed on treadmill, and I agree. That'll make your hips hurt. I think that the one of the girls who was on my son Wayne's cross country team, she went out for cross country, and before that she was a speed walker, and her
activity stopped.
Yes, I'm done.
It looks like we have arrived at your.
All right. Don't need his conversation right now. She had, I forget what crazy kind of pace it was, like a 17 something 5K walking. That's crazy. Admirable. How do you do that? So there you go, Jim. That's definitely more than a 4 mile per hour pace. I'm curious as to whether you did it. I didn't listen long enough into the podcast yet. All right, well, I'm back at my car. You'd head on back to work in a little bit, so I will bid you all adieu for this shorty. So this is Steve, Quakertown, Pennsylvania, southeast, on a cool October 4th. Cool, just the right kind of cool. Not chilled at all. If it were damp, oh yeah, that would be different. But this felt pretty good. So you'll keep enjoying it. And I'll talk again soon. Bye-bye. Let's see, Steve here trying to get ready to go. And I got start workout. Well, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Friday. I may just tack to this onto the run from Tuesday. Tuesday was a shorty, and I was at the same spot. But today, it is really enjoyable. So it's lunchtime, and the sun is out. We're going above 70 degrees. Perfect. May go home and do some lawn mowing and trimming. Since we finally had some rain, the grass all sprouted up once again. Tuesday's run, I had the sniffles, which turned into the nose just about running off my face, which turned into sneezing. That was the rest of Tuesday. It's just a mess. I woke up Wednesday, didn't feel quite as bad, and then right at the end of the day, right at the end of the workday, about 4:20 p.m., sore throat started to hit. So I went to bed around 7:30. Very beneficial. Went to bed around 9:30 last night and woke up in the 4 o'clock hour. Did not get back to sleep. I'm running alongside the railroad tracks at the 4th Street Park, and those refrigerator cars are gone. So their hum is missing from today's podcast. Hooray. Wasn't feeling superb yesterday either. So we skipped going to our small group on Thursday. A quick update on our friend Jim Crook, who has multiple myeloma. Yesterday they sent him home to hospice care again. His vital signs, they say, are good, but he is non-responsive and there seems to be an infection in his brain that they can't figure out. So these may be Jim's final days. Very grateful to have had the extra 9 months that he enjoyed with his family. For them especially. So even this parting is not unexpected. It still will have its bitterness. Jim was 63. I don't know if he's 64 yet. But, yeah, too young. And somebody who just as others oriented, he and his wife, just very generous with all that they are and have. There's some activity out here today. Like the other day, it's really quiet. I think I'll get to other parts that are more desolate. There's a couple of ladies with small children playing around. Another day, not too much to report though. I'm enjoying seeing other people's postings about their activities on either Extra Mile or Slow Runners Club, or all the beautiful photos that get submitted for Friends of the Seeker podcast. Now, what I ought to be doing, it seems, is I ought to be seeking out the seasonal photos that Carlos has been posting lately. And that is Halloween decorations in people's yards. I know there are folks who live across the street from us who really get carried away, in my opinion, with their decorating for Halloween. But the one, they get just as carried away for Christmas. So I think they have a very low powered FM signal that you get just at their house. So it's like a light and sound show. I'm sure we'll get a picture for Carlos. Looking to keep today short so I can get another entry tomorrow, or another run. Doesn't mean I have to talk and record. I think the weather, they're saying, is going to be wet tomorrow, and I don't remember that in the forecast. We certainly have no impact from Matthew expected up this far. At least not right now. The way they're talking, Matthew could come up to the Carolinas and then head back down to Florida a second time. Well, for their sake, I hope not. I wish that Haiti could get their house in order to build up infrastructure, because people suffer at the hands of natural disasters. So much devastation from the earthquake a few years back, but I think more death from afterwards with unclean conditions leading to cholera outbreaks and more death. So sad. So sad that we have a neighboring country so poor. Not just poor, but not equipped. And I'm sure the reasons are complex. All right, out here in the far end of the soccer fields. Enjoying the place to myself. That's not as enjoyable. I like the woods to myself is okay. But big open fields, not as much. I think I'd prefer a little company. I'm not sure anybody else feels that way, but that's what I'm thinking. get a big open path. It's nice to see civilization. Get out in the woods. Hey, that's solitary. It's pretty good stuff. I think I told you that I called the horse stable that goes out on the trails that I run around Nakamixon. They said, oh, we don't stop doing horseback riding. We go year round. We've done that for 54 years, and hunters or not. So I'm not a horse, so I'm not sure about that, but itching to get out and running in a place like that. Down at Lake Galena at the Peace Valley Park, there's no hunting allowed there, so it's just a further getaway. I would imagine the Rodale Preserve also on South Mountain. No hunting allowed there either. By Rodale Preserve, I don't mean the mile-long path around Rodale Press. But there's a series of trails. One of the hills there, Robert Rodale Nature Preserve. I'm not sure if Mrs. Rodale is still living or not. Not that you'd be able to tell. They're really sharp ear could, but some different sounding click in my right pocket. That is a key set to a Subaru. So I just swapped our van for family to use for next week. We're going up to Pocono Lake with an Airbnb arrangement. The couple is they are missionaries in South Africa. And they have 2 sons who are married. They called the church office one day to ask if they could either rent the church van or swap a minivan. And that's what we did. A little embarrassed. The car is so clean on the inside, nicely swept out. Not so much ours. But they did take it to the car wash today before topping off the gas and exchanging. So Jim, I wanted to say something to you about your most recent Magic Mile. Sub 7:30. Very nice. Time to myself in a mile maybe a year and a half ago. I hit about 7:30. Man, it's torture. open rather than closed loop. Like a track. So it tells you, have a timer that says half mile and such. And I used to run track in high school, but it's tough. Especially the first lap, like you said, went out too fast. But anyway, I think that was a good showing. Good improvement over your previous. So congratulations. All right, I think there's a David I need to become familiar with. I think listens to the podcast, but I'm not in the premium, so I don't know who. I don't know if you get that kind of statistics with Spreaker paid services. Do you get information about who is actually listening, besides just that people are downloading or listening, stuff like that. But anyway, appreciated a comment from a David recently, and I just don't know if there's somebody else out there I should be listening to. So David, make yourself known if nobody else does. Be glad to give a listen. Alright. Just getting to the end of the... Let's see, I've run through the midget football, through the soccer, and now I'm in the baseball zone, which is near the end. I think I'll end with a loop back around the 4th Street Park that I started with, kind of in reverse. Might tip the mileage to just over 2 miles. And that'll be it for today. Squirrels are about, around our yard. Now we're running around with black walnuts in their mouth. I'd rather them have black walnuts than the birdseed in my feeder, but they don't seem to understand the rules very well. It's something I did the other day that I hadn't done in about 5 years. And that was, I'm a licensed ham radio operator. Last Saturday, the 1st, I made contact with a special event station via a puny piece of wire in my attic. The special event was the 100th anniversary of the Tacoma, Washington Radio Club. And I always log my contacts, and the previous was October 5th, 2011. Might have been an overseas contact. Yeah, I let my antennas, just wire antennas, kind of go to pot. Had a dipole set up not a very good one for the 40-meter band. And then I had a long wire, just random length. I've got a short wire, 20 feet. That's terrible. But I've got an antenna tuner, so I can at least bring down the standing wave ratio, meaning the reflected energy back into the radio. So I have an old Yaesu 747. It's digital, but it's got issues. So sometimes the frequency drifts and it shouldn't. I got bands that don't work quite right. Could use a tune-up. That gets costly. And then I have a dual band VHF and UHF radio also up in the attic. So that's part of the problem. They're in the attic. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Doesn't do very much for circuitry. Capacitors get dried out and stuff like that. So that was given to me by a friend who lives down south of Doylestown, and it was his father's. He and his father had identical radios, and he came to me about, I think it was last year, within the last year, I'd say. He was asking for if I had the box, and I did. He wanted to ship it over to somewhere in New Jersey because it needed a CMOS battery replacement. It recommends not replacing it yourself. So I need to follow up with him and see if I can find out how much that cost him, because my battery also doesn't hold a charge, and what that means is you plug in things to your memory and you turn off the radio. The memory gets wiped clean. So he even gave me an antenna, and I'm not using that antenna either. So I've got things I would love to put together. I'd love to bring my radios out of the attic, but in respect to my wife, I would want them to have a nice looking setup. And not all junky. So my call sign, if any of you are ham radio operators, is KB9CNN. KB9CNN. I think I was licensed in 91 originally, and CNN was still a somewhat newer network. It didn't have the prominence until the Gulf War. And everybody said, CNN. So I've kept that call sign. Could have changed it. Guess I still could. That's okay. if you know of any running ham operators, let me know. All right, back to the unfamiliar Subaru. Let's see, I've been trying to intentionally get pictures of things around me because Carlos loves pictures. And I love that about Carlos. So if I can send a nice snapshot off to him instead of a map, I know he likes those too. But seriously, I think he enjoys seeing places. So we'll see if we can come up with one of those. Anyway, it's Friday afternoon, just 10 minutes after 1. And so, again, I might couple this with the last one and make this a little bit longer than it is right now. But Steve, hoping to get a run in again tomorrow on Saturday. So I'll cut this one for short now. Or no, I can't even speak. Still winded in my my breath. So we'll talk to you all again soon. Take care. Happy running.